Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video we're going to be testing out a couple of new things, or at least new to me, from the drugstore. I was in my Walmart this morning picking up some groceries. I knew I needed to film today and I have kind of been in a bit of a makeup funk lately. So the best thing to get me out of a makeup funk is to browse through the drugstore and try out some new stuff. Probably not the smartest solution or wisest use of money, but in my defense, it has been a while since I have even gone into my drugstore makeup section, and a lot of these things I've had on my radar for quite a while. So we are going to test them out today. I've got a lot of stuff here today from Revlon. We've got some cream products here today. Very excited about it. I hope that you guys are excited about it. Before we jump into the video, a special welcome to those of you that are new to my channel. I hope that you will consider subscribing, and if you would like to be notified every time I upload a new video, be sure to hit that notification bell. And with that said, let's jump right into it. So we're going to kick things off today with Complexion. I'm going to start with the foundation that I got, and it is the Revlon Candid Foundation. I know this is not that new. It has been out for quite a while now. I've been meaning to try this thing, and now that I have fallen in love with the Revlon Candid concealers, I decided to give this thing a try. So I picked it up in the shade 260, which I am really hoping is going to shade match for me. I honestly spent a good 10 minutes just holding these shades up at different angles in the light, because you never can tell what shade of foundation is going to be, especially under the lights in a drugstore and also in the packaging. You don't really know how accurate what is shown in the packaging is to what reality is. It looks like this might be all right for me though. Might be a hair light, but hopefully the new bronzer that I picked up, we can kind of warm things up a little bit. So I'm just going to apply this with my hands, which I've been really into doing lately, and especially with this type of a foundation. And again, I haven't tried this one before, but I've heard a couple of people compare this to the It Cosmetics CC cream as far as the way that it looks and feels on the skin. And that one I really love applying with my hands. So we're just going to try and press this in, blend this in with my hands. Okay, that looks pretty good. As far as coverage, it's looking like a solid medium coverage to me, and I have a lot going on my face right now as far as things to cover. I have been spending so much time outside watching baseball, and despite my efforts to stay in the shade and keep SPF on, those sunspots, which used to be attractive freckles, but as you get older they look off. So I've got a lot of sun discoloration going on right now that hopefully this foundation will help me out with. Okay, that looks really nice. Shade match is actually perfect. I'm just taking what's left and kind of rubbing it under my jawline and slightly down onto my neck. There's not much left on my hands. So now let's go into concealer. Again, this isn't new. I'm just going to take my Revlon Candid Concealer, add a little bit of the shade. I have a different shade here. This is the shade 30, which is honestly almost the exact same shade as 25. I have 25 and 30. And then 05 that I put a tiny bit of this under my eyes to brighten things up, but I think shade 30 has a little bit more yellow in it than shade 25. But both of them work pretty well for me. I'm going to try just using this shade today and keep things nice and simple. So that is looking really nice. My complexion looks really good. The coverage is great. It doesn't look heavy or cakey. I will keep you guys posted on how I end up liking this, but so far it does feel similar to the It Cosmetics on my skin. It doesn't have quite the illumination that the one I have, which is this CC illumination version, but I really like the feel of this. I think it's really nice so far, and I will keep you guys posted. I said that twice. So I do have a new bronzer and highlighter to try out, also from Revlon, and then I have a new cream blush that we're going to get to. That one is not from Revlon, but I first want to apply just a little bit of primer to my eyelids because we are going to be using a cream shadow today. And I don't think it's one that is meant to be, it's not from their Color Stay line, so I don't know that this one's gonna hold up as well. Now let's move into the rest of the face, and I picked up the Revlon Skin Lights bronzer and the Skin Lights highlighter. I've been wanting to try these for a very long time. I've heard really good things about these. I know they've been out for a little while, so I am a little late to the game, but I'm excited to try them out. This bronzer in the store looked very shimmery, and I'm curious to see if it is indeed shimmery or if it's just kind of an overspray that it has to it. I'm assuming it's looking more just like a light sheen. And yeah, that actually does, the way that it feels and looks right here reminds me a little bit more of like the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer with maybe a little bit more sheen, but I wouldn't call it shimmery. So I picked up the darker shade, number 115 Sunkissed Beam. They both looked really light to me, and I felt like the lightest one was going to be too light for me this time of year. So I went with this one, but I want to start off with the bronzer, and we're going to take that on my rougher bronzer brush, which really needs a wash, but I did wipe it off really well, so hopefully this color will be accurate. So I don't know how heavy-handed to go with this. We're just going to jump right in. As for this bronzer brush, I've had a couple of questions from you guys asking me how I like it, if I think it is worth the price tag. It is an expensive brush. I will be perfectly honest with you guys. I know deep in my heart that I would never spend the $100+ on this brush just because that's just outside of the range of where I'm comfortable spending, but it is a fantastic brush. It's very, very soft, very dense, and it applies bronzer literally in like 5 seconds. So it's a beautiful brush. I love it. I just think it's ridiculously expensive. I understand why it is, because I mean this feels very luxe, much more luxe than any brush that I own. So there's the bronzer. Now I'm kind of feeling like that might be a little bit too dark. I wonder if I should have gone with the lighter color. Hopefully it'll all come together in the end, but I feel like that might be a little bit too dark and orange. Alright, so let's jump into the highlighter next, and then we will move on to the blush. So I picked this one right here. They had 2 shades of the highlighter. They had one that might have been a little bit deeper than this one, but I picked this one. This one is the shade 201 Daybreak Glimmer. It looks very, very intense and shimmery. Yeah, that's pretty intense. We will see how this goes on. I hope that it's not too glittery. Let me just... So when I swatch this on the back of my hand, it's very reflective, but it's not glittery. It doesn't look like there are particles of glitter in here. And I know with most highlighters, even when they don't look like there are particles of glitter, if you actually go out in the sun, pretty much any highlighter is going to have some element of glitter in them, but this one definitely doesn't have chunky glitter in it, which is a good thing for sure. So we are going to take this on my Luxie tapered highlighting brush, and I'm just going to start right on top of the cheekbones, and I'm just trying to go straight back. I've kind of been doing my highlighter differently lately. I used to do kind of a C shape, but I'm trying to just go straight back right here, and then just put a little bit right up on my brow bone. Put a little bit down on the tip of the nose, and then right across the bridge. Cupid's bow. Okay, that's pretty intense. It's a very intense Cupid's bow highlighter. Take it easy on the Cupid's bow. Ooh. It actually reminds me a little bit of my Zuma highlighter from Persona. A different formula. It does have a different kind of more, I mean, super reflective, but the Zuma highlighter is a little bit glittery, a little bit, not chunky glitter, but it does have some glitter in it. I do love it, but this one seems like a little bit more equally reflective, but maybe a little bit more refined version of that one, but it does have that same kind of gold reflect to it. But it's a very light gold. The color I think would be a good gold shade for someone with much more fair skin than the Persona Zuma highlighter. So if that one was a little bit too dark for you, maybe something like this will work. Alright, so I'm really happy with how that looks so far. I really think that highlighter is beautiful. Let's move into blush. I have heard some good things about the Revlon blushes, but I really didn't want to try out a new powder blush. I wanted to try out a cream or liquid blush from the drugstore, but the options were a little bit slim at my drugstore. I initially was going to pick out the Maybelline new cream blushes that come in like the cloud paint. They look kind of like the glossy cloud paints, but I was reading the reviews while I was in the store, and the reviews on those were not great, but they didn't have the CoverGirl ones, which got better reviews at my drugstore. So I ended up going with this little thing right here. This is from e.l.f. This is their Monochromatic Multi-Stick. I would love to know how many of you guys have been around long enough to remember the little multi-sticks that e.l.f. used to do. They looked like this. They were, I think, maybe a tiny bit larger, and they were in white packaging, and they had a couple different shades. I remember those very vividly because that was back in the day when I was just getting into makeup, and I would wait for e.l.f. to have their crazy sales, and this is even back when most products from e.l.f. were $1. But they would occasionally have these buy one get one free or everything 50% off sales, so I could get tons of makeup for like 50 cents a piece. And I remember buying all of these basically, and I really liked them back then. I don't know that that really accounts for much because my makeup experience back then was pretty minimal. I thought we would try them again today, so I'm going to swatch this on the back of my hand. There it is, right there. That actually looks like a really pretty shade. This one is in the shade Sparkling Rose, so I'm gonna try and put this on with my stippling brush. This is from Luxie. This is their Duo Fiber powder brush. I'm just gonna try and like lightly tap this on. Is it showing up? I can't really tell. Are you there? Maybe a little. I have my doubts that this will be very long wearing, but I don't know, we'll see. For today, I'm okay with that because it is 3:40 in the afternoon. How did this day get away from me? I had intended to film at like 9:30 this morning. There's like windows of filming for me. I can film in the morning after Charlie's had her breakfast, her brothers can play with her and entertain her for an hour while I film, or I have to wait until she possibly goes down for a nap, which by the way is not every day. She's kind of in that, I mean, she's 3 now. Most kids at 3 are not taking naps anymore. I am one of those moms that tries to get her kids to take a nap as often as I possibly can. Granted, there are days that I don't feel like they need a nap, and I'm not going to make them fall asleep when they don't really need to. But if I feel like they're whiny and they're tired, we are going to try for a nap. And I have a lot of great techniques for getting my kids down for a nap. Okay, so as I build that up, I really like it. I don't know how long it's going to last. I will try and keep you guys posted. It is very inexpensive. This was only $4, and they did have a couple different shades that looked really pretty. So again, this one's Sparkling Rose. And I really love it. I think it's really nice and natural looking. Now let's move into the eyes. So I have seen these cream shadows at the drugstore for years, probably like 7 or 8 years, and I've never felt inclined to check them out. Now, I initially was going to try one of their Color Stay pot cream shadows, but here's the problem, guys. Anytime I buy a potted shadow, I almost never use them. I'm much more likely to use something that's in a packaging situation like this that has a couple different options in it. So I decided to give this one a try instead. The version that I got is in Skin Lights, which looks like just 3 very, just kind of neutral lid shades. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch them for you guys. Okay, these are really creamy. Okay, this might be a problem. These feel very creamy, like oily. Let's swatch them on the back of my hand. Okay, that's pretty. That's the pink shade. And then this kind of brown taupey shade right there. So they're all very light. There's not a lot of pigment to these. I'm very curious to see with a primer underneath. I did use the Urban Decay Primer Potion. I think I used the anti-aging version, which has a little bit of pigment to it. So I did put that on my lids. We'll see if that helps us to stay in place. But before we go in with the lid shade, I do want to use the bronzer as my transition shade today. So we're going to take just a bit of this bronzer on my Rephr number 16 brush and just throw that into the crease. That does make a perfect transition shade for me. And I actually like the bronzer a little better now that I have highlighter and blush on with it. And then I'm going to take my Rephr number 2 brush, this kind of flat smudgy brush, and really build this up in this brush. And we're going to run that right along the lower lash line, like the outer half. And I will not lie, I'm not a huge fan of cream shadows. I have just learned over the years that I think I prefer my shadows to be just traditional powders. But I was also not a fan of cream bronzers and blushes until recently, and they have really won me over. So I'm wondering if I use them a little bit more, if maybe I will learn to love cream shadows. So again, here are the swatches on the back of my hand. So this 3rd shade right here, which is this shade on the outside, is not very shimmery. It's more of just like it almost reminds me of just a concealer. So I don't want to use that shade. I'm really leaning towards, I don't know, let's see here. I feel like the pink's going to be very subtle, but I think it'll be really pretty with the cheek. So let's try the pink. So let's take a little bit on my finger, and I'm just going to tap that all over the lid here. My worry is that by the time these set, if they do set, if I move my eye at all, it's going to crease. So I'm going to try and keep my eyes closed. Just do this, then I can just keep them kind of taut if I just look up like that. You want to take just a tiny bit of this kind of taupe shade at the end, and I'm just going to pop a little bit of that on the outer kind of 1/3 of the lid. This would probably be a nightmare if you have long nails. My nails right now are very, 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 very short. Okay, so that is really pretty. It does feel like it's setting down a little bit. I don't know that it's fully set down. I'm afraid if I really start opening up my eyes that it's going to crease, but that's okay. We'll move on and just see what happens. I do want to take just a tiny bit of the lightest shade right here, the lightest shimmer shade, and just pop that right on this inner corner. That's really pretty. So these have a very soft shimmer effect to them. They're very natural looking. So if you don't like something overly foiled or unnatural, you might really like these. They do look very healthy on the lids. I don't know if that's a good description or not, but they just look very soft and natural, which is pretty. Very, very pretty. So I did not get an eyeliner or a mascara. I really wanted to try out the Bambi mascara from L'Oreal, but I have so many mascaras open. I actually just got a new mascara that I am excited to talk about for you guys in a future video. So I'm just going to use one that I have. I'm going to go in with my Wet n Wild liner. I'm just going to line my upper waterline. I think I'll probably do a little wing liner just right on this outer corner as well. Then I'm going to put on a couple coats of mascara and I will be right back with you guys. Alright guys, so the last thing I have is the lips, and I do have a new lipstick from Revlon. These are their Super Lustrous Glass Shine lipsticks. The one I got is in the shade 20 Nude Illuminator. This looks really, really promising. It actually, I did try it on the way home from the store, and it does feel a lot like a lot of the other shine lipsticks that I love, including the L'Oreal, the ones from Wet n Wild. I love the packaging of these. They're very, very luxurious feeling for the price. I mean, these were pretty affordable, but I think that shade looks really nice and natural as well. I do want to use a lip liner first. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my Essence Because Duh waterproof lip liner, and I mostly want to concentrate this on my bottom lip line and then just a little bit on the top center. And kind of smudge that in. And then we're going to go in with the lipstick. These are really creamy. Apply like a lipstick, but really look more like a gloss. They're really comfortable. They smell nice with it. It's a very, very soft, sweet smell. These are the kind of lipsticks that are perfect to put in your purse, to put on the go when you don't really have time to really fuss with your lip line or worry about how your lips look. I do think though they are quite soft. I would worry about like leaving these in a hot car because you can tell that they're very soft and might possibly, I'm guessing here, but might possibly melt if you leave them in your cars. Alright you guys, and this is the finished makeup look. I am pretty impressed with a lot of this stuff that we tried out today, so let's go through everything really quickly. First off, the cream shadows. These look really, really pretty. They are very, very subtle. If you like natural makeup, you might like these. If you don't like natural makeup and you like more definition, more shine, more creative eye looks, then these probably won't be for you because they are very natural looking, and I do see just the tiniest bit of creasing even with a eyeshadow base underneath, so these aren't going to be perfectly long wearing, but if you need a little bit of moisture for your lids and you want something kind of sheer, with a light amount of color for a natural look, I think these are really pretty. I don't know that I'll get a lot of use out of them because I definitely prefer powder shadows. I just do. I don't find myself using cream shadows all that often, but I did absolutely love both the bronzer and the highlighter. I still feel like this bronzer shade in the wintertime is probably going to be a little bit too warm for me. I'm kind of wishing I would have gone with the lighter shade, but I do think this shade looks nice right now with my skin being just a little bit tan. The highlighter is amazing. I am really impressed with this highlighter. It's a very different formula than I've tried from the drugstore. It's super reflective, but it's also very smooth looking. I love the color of this one as well because I feel like it's golden enough that it will look really nice on my skin when I have a bit of a tan, but it's also light enough that will work on me when I'm a little bit more fair as well. So very impressed with this. The blush I think looks beautiful. It's very soft and natural looking. Again, I feel like this whole vibe and look today is much more of a soft, natural looking, not just in the colors but also in the textures that I have going on, but I do think this is beautiful. It does remind, the way that it looks on my cheeks reminds me a lot of the Juicy Pang water blusher. I don't know that it's going to be as long wearing as that one is on me, but I do love the texture of it. It applied really easily with a stippling brush. I love the color of it. It looks healthy, it looks natural. My cheeks just look very plump and natural and soft and pretty. If you've been curious about the water blushers, now I'm not saying these are the same formula. They're very, very different. This is a cream, this is a liquid, but the effect on the cheeks is somewhat similar. And if you're wanting to try out that sort of effect, if you've maybe never tried a liquid or a cream blush, at $4 this is a really good place to start. So I do think they're pretty. I will let you guys know how the wear time is on these as I've tried them out a little bit more, but for $4, I think these are great. As for the Candid Foundation, this is another thing I think I am most excited about that I tried today. Very impressed with this so far. It gave me the perfect amount of coverage, but still my skin looks pretty natural, which are those not the two things that most all of us want from a good foundation? Something with good coverage that looks natural. I feel like this did that perfectly. Again, this is my first impression with this. I will keep you guys posted on how this wears. I'll keep using it. And last up, the lipstick. I really am impressed with these lipsticks. These are really nice and comfortable. I've actually had this on for, I did have a bit of a 30-minute intermission there trying to get, Charlie just woke up from her nap. and was very upset, so I had to go get her calmed down a little bit. So I've had this on for about 45 minutes now, and I think it looks still really natural and beautiful. The color is perfect for me as far as nude lip colors go. It leans more on the pink side, but it's not a very bubblegum or cool toned pink. It's a very natural, soft looking pink. And they have a good amount of color, but a good amount of shine. They're kind of that one and done type of lip product that you could just throw this on your lips if you just need something. It's going to make you look a little bit put together. This is a good product for that. But that is it for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you enjoyed seeing me use some of these drugstore products. Maybe you've had your eye on them as well. I would love to hear from you guys. What new drugstore makeup have you guys been really interested in? Leave those down in the comments below. Maybe we can do this again sometime soon. But thank you guys again for stopping by today. I hope that you guys are doing well. I hope that you will consider subscribing if you have not yet done that. And I will see all of you in my next video. Bye. Seriously, I dream of living in a world where these stickers are not so difficult to remove. Don't leave a residue on your packages. I know that I've mentioned this before, and this probably makes me seem a little bit neurotic, but I know that I am not alone. I can't get them off my fingers. Goodness sakes. Oh my gosh, I am so clumsy today. Crazy! But this one is in the shade Sparkling Rope. Clumsy day. Nap time is over. You are so sad. What's wrong? Come here. Did your brother poke you?
Yes.
Should we put him in timeout?
Yes.
You want justice?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? How was your nap? Did you sleep okay? Yeah, I laid in there with you for a minute. Can you let me finish? I only need 5 minutes and then I'll be done. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video... Was that a question?